Good afternoon, my darlings. It's Monday, the 13th of May, and continuing with our mayhem, I bring you yet another treat. Tonight, or should I say this afternoon, we are going to do Midnight Express. This is the story of Billy Hayes, the young man who was arrested at Istanbul airport, the international airport, and William Hoffer co-wrote of Billy's experience in a Turkish jail. And this edition is a first Spear edition of 1978, so it's quite an old book, but a very, very relevant and super scary story. Kids, this is why we don't do drugs ever. Don't take them, and for God's sakes, don't get caught transporting them, especially if you're in Turkey. Honestly, I'll read the back bit for you. What's a nice guy like you doing in a place like this? For Billy Hayes, 1970 was a horrifying year. It was the year when he tried to smuggle 4 pounds of hashish from Istanbul back to his home in America. It was the year when he was arrested at Istanbul airport, tried and sentenced to 30 years in a Turkish jail. For 5 years he suffered the filth, the brutality and the degradation of imprisonment in an environment of hellish squalor, while his family fought in vain to secure his release. Finally, in desperation and he made a daring escape bid, and incredibly the bid succeeded. This is the astounding true story told in Billy Hayes' own words of those 5 years of a living hell and of the harrowing ordeal of his time on the run. Vivid, realistic without being morbid, it is a classic story of survival and human endurance, told with humour, intelligence and total honesty. Oh my God, this book does not spare you. The level of brutality that Billy experienced was barbaric. Yes, he was trying to smuggle drugs, but people have brought more into the country and have not suffered quite like how Billy has suffered. The poor man. I wrote some things down for you to just express basically what happened. Midnight Express tells the gut-wrenching story and true story of a young man's incarceration and escape from a Turkish prison. A classic story of survival and human endurance, told with humour, honesty and heart. It became the Academy Award-winning blockbuster film of the same name. In the 1970s, Billy Hayes was an English major who left college in search of adventures to write about. Well, like his hero, Jack London. Now, if you know of Jack London, yeah? Scarlet Plague and all that. Yeah, brilliant. He had a rude awakening when he was arrested at the airport in Istanbul trying to board a plane while carrying 4 pounds, right? Just bear in mind, 4 pounds is not a lot, of hashish, and he was given a life sentence. After 5 brutal years, relentless efforts by his family to gain his release, and endless escape plotting, Hayes finally took matters into his own hands. On a dark night, in a wailing storm, he began a desperate and daring escape to freedom. This is the astounding journey, told in Billy Hayes' own words, of those 5 years of living hell and of the harrowing ordeal of his time on the run. What this boy suffered, they nearly beat him to death. In fact, one night he was so badly beaten, he actually thought they'd severed his spinal cord. He was very poorly for weeks after that beating. In fact, the guards realised that they'd gone a bit too far and actually thought they'd killed him, and so everything was like hush hush, and they just left him laid. He couldn't eat, he couldn't drink, he couldn't do anything. He just had to lay there and just let it pass. I mean, and that heat with rats running round and God knows what other filth and vermin. Absolutely vile. So that's a good reason not to become a drugs mule. You know, and I don't think he was intending to sell it. He was just intending to have it for his own personal use. But oh, what this boy endured. I won't say he wasn't a man at the time. He was a man when they finished with him. But when he went into that prison, he was a young, fresh college boy. And I know a lot of people will say, well, you do drugs, you know, you deserve what you get. But by Christ, this lad did not deserve that. He did not deserve 5 years of, well, it's like an insane asylum when you know you're sane. How this didn't tip him over the goddamn edge, I do not know. I'll read you a little bit on the inside. Billy Hayes was born in New York City and grew up on Long Island, where he worked as a lifeguard during the summer. He went to Marquette University, dropped out before graduation, and the following few years of his life are those recounted in this book. He is now completing his interrupted studies at Fordham. William Hoffer is a co-author of Caught in the Act and has written for numerous magazines. He's a director of the American Society of Journalists and Authors and lives with his wife and 2 daughters in Maryland. Billy dedicated this book to his father because his father never stopped. Acknowledgements, and this is quite touching. I want to thank my family and friends. I want to thank my family and relatives, old friends, new friends, and friends I've never met. Names that come most readily to mind are James and Rita Archambault, Barbara Belmont, Senator James Buckley, Mark Derish, Bluent Ekevit, Bob Green, Michael Griffith, Harriet James, Howard Mace, William Macomber, Nick Mann, Robert McBee, Irene Moore, Dr. Bernard Schwartz, Norman Shaw, John Sutter, and Jean Zajic. Special thanks to Dr. Ronald Rosen. Wow. He had a lot of people to thank. No one gave up on you, Billy. And I'm glad to see that you didn't give up on yourself. Chapter 1. I'll just read you the first page. Some 12 miles west of Istanbul, beyond the outskirts of the city, in a flat farm country near the coast, is Yesilkoy. Sorry, I can't say that word. Yesilkoy International Airport. Every day at noon, Pan American Flight number 1 arrives from Tehran. It sorts out its incoming and outgoing passengers, then takes off again at 1 o'clock to continue its journey to Frankfurt, London and New York. On the 6th of October 1970, feeling like an Ian Fleming character with dark aviator sunglasses over my eyes and my trench coat collar pulled up to my ears, I watched flight number 1, a Boeing 707, land on the concrete runway. I pulled the brim of my lucky hat low over my eyes and eased up against the wall near the passenger check-in counter. A short, pudgy man in his mid-30s pushed past me and heaved his suitcase onto the scale. A good-looking, dark-haired girl behind the counter tagged his bag, stamped his ticket and waved him through to the security checkpoint. From where I stood, I could see the balding spot on his head, flushed with effort as he walked down the long corridor. There at the end, a bored Turkish officer in a rumpled uniform half-heartedly looked into the carry-on bag, glanced at the man's passport, coughing on a cigarette. The guard waved the passenger on his way. I watched the pudgy man disappear into the Pan Am passenger lounge. Yes, yes, I assured myself, that's the way. It looks easy. I stepped up to the counter and left. Sorry, I'll read that again. I stepped up to the counter and with the last of my money bought a ticket to New York for the following day. I planned to watch the flight actually depart, but what more was there to see? Did I really need to be that thorough? Security here seemed to be a joke. Almost an afterthought. If I hurried into a cab, I could make it back to the pudding shop in time for my date with that English girl I'd met at breakfast. She said she was in Istanbul studying belly dancing. I really didn't care if her story was true. All I wanted was some company before my adventure. Billy, you're young and you didn't think this through. I wish you'd just bought the ticket and just gone. My poor, poor boy. Ah, God, what he went through is just horrid. I first read Midnight Express when I was pregnant with my eldest child, which is nearly 22 years ago. I know. So I just found it in a, like a charity store. Yeah, call it like a bric-a-brac shop, charity store, and my husband's bought it for me. You know, I have a love affair with books, and my husband, whenever I pick something, I was like, "Would you like that, darling?" And I was reading it while shortly before I went into labour with my eldest, and I'm getting so upset. I'm really hormonal, pregnant, hormones. Oh my God, and the rage. Oh, I was proper raging because of what was happening to Billy, and I vowed at that point, and I just said, I have to, when my daughters are of an age where they can understand this, they must read it and understand what Billy went through, because they're now, my eldest is 22, 2 years older, than Billy was when he, God awful, poor boy. Oh, not fair. Absolutely not fair what he went through. And I was quite taken by, obviously I've just said, the graphic details of his awful imprisonment and the terrible conditions existing in Turkey at the time for convicts. And You might have seen Banged Up Abroad and the prison shows that they do, you know, in South America or Asian countries of their prisons, but woway, that ain't a patch on a Turkish prison. Oh my good Lord. They have nothing in these prisons. They don't even have proper beds to sleep on. It's like the floor, mate, that's where you're sleeping. And they're not even given a proper diet. I mean, I don't know how he didn't die after that particular beating and everything. I'm absolutely beyond shocked that he wasn't taken out of there in a body bag, because goddamn, those guards did not let up. They were beating him for fun, you know, and he'd long since passed out and they were still going. I mean, you know, bloody hell. It's enough to make you want to burst into tears, to be honest. I mean, well, like I said, have hormones, pregnancy hormones, absolutely proper raging they were. And I've reread this recently because I wanted to talk about it, because obviously my daughters are coming of the age. I mean, my youngest is the age that Billy was, and it's like, oh, and the thought of my child, and I can understand Billy's parents, and they must have been bloody frantic, because I know I would be. I wouldn't be able to eat, I wouldn't be able to sleep, you know. All it would be was, for God's sakes, get my child out of there, you know. And we just think it's 4 pounds of hashish. Wow. I know I'm making it sound trivial, 4 pounds of hashish, you know, it could have been whatever, you know, crack cocaine, you name it, it could have been anything, heroin, you know, but it's sickening. It is absolutely sickening, and he shouldn't have done it, and that's what makes me so sad. And in the best years of his life, and he's banged up in a Turkish prison, and Billy, why? I know life experience has taught you something, my son, and if anything is that the message that you give is, don't do what he did, right? He was so naive, but what happened to him was not proportionate, you know. Oliver Stone made the film, and it was through Columbia Pictures. So if I can find a trailer for this, I'll put it up on one of my playlists for you, or I might even get it onto the playlist that I'm doing here, the May Mayhem. The music, I think Vangelis did the music for it, if I remember rightly. I'd have to pop that in the description. I'll just check who did the music for. Who did the music for Midnight Express? Alright, no, it wasn't Vangelis. Oh, I do beg your pardon. If everyone's screaming, it wasn't Vangelis! No, the original soundtrack by Giorgio Moroder. Sorry, I butchered that name, haven't I? Giorgio Moroder. And, it was released on October the 6th, 1978 by Casablanca Records. Oh, right, well, there we go. It's Italian synth pioneer Giorgio Moroder. Yeah, there we go. The quote. Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Ugh. Horrid. What this poor boy, honestly, I can't. He does make a bit of a life for himself in the prison. It's not much. It isn't much, but he does manage to make a few friends, does Billy, while he's in there. And I suppose if that's the bit that stopped him from going over the edge. It really, absolutely sickening. I'm not going to even read you the end because I don't want to spoil it. For anyone that has never ever read Midnight Express or doesn't even know about Billy Hayes and his life, I wonder if he's still alive. Oh. He was born the 3rd of April in 1947. And he died. Wow, 29th of April, 2021. Oh. Oh no, I think I've got the wrong person. Oh, it's a bloody female actress I've got. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, everybody. Sorry, I'm reading about Brad Davis, the guy that played Billy Hayes in the film Midnight Express and originated the role of Ned Weeks in the play The Normal Heart. Died Sunday at his home in Studio City. Davis was 41 and died of an age-related complication, said his wife. Oh. Alright, so the guy that played him died. He's died at 41. Wow. Oh. So, Wikipedia, what do you say? William Billy Hayes, born the 3rd of April in 1947, is an American writer, actor and film director. He's best known for his autobiographical book Midnight Express about his experiences in an escape from a Turkish prison. Ah, right. Okie dokie. He's age 77. Sorry, Billy, you've not died. I'm so sorry. I got you completely mixed up with another flipping Billy Hayes that happened to be a female actress. I do apologise, everybody. Anyway, William and Dorothy Hayes were his parents. And he's married to Wendy West. And he's a writer, actor and film director. Well, my darling Billy, you can be anything you want to be after what you went through here. Absolutely. Oh. And Oliver Stone did you proud with the movie. He really did. And, you know, if you don't have time to read the book, watch the film. But have a big wad of paper towels, you know, tissues, because you're going to be crying your eyes out. I've actually seen the film as well, and although the film is embellished, if shall we say, this is the real story. The film is an adaptation, not quite the same as the book, but it'll still give you nightmares watching it. If ever there was a reason to ban drugs completely, this would be it. It's every parent's worst nightmare, and it's just utterly heartbreaking what he goes through. And like I say, and the beatings and the rat infested prison, and being left for dead, and his daring escape. Oh my good Lord, how he had the energy and how his body could actually move to get him the hell out of there. What he did that night, that stormy night, was stuff of legends. And I swear to God, you'll be holding your breath while you're reading the book on his escape, because the American embassy knew that they couldn't get him out. They knew they'd tried everything, and the Turkish government were not budging. And they basically said to Billy, if you don't do it, if you do not escape, if you do not do this right now, you're going to die here. And that was enough to light a candle up Billy's arse and get him going. Absolutely. It really is a triumph of the human spirit that he actually escaped. I mean, holy hell. The storm of storms on the night of nights, and that's when he did it. And he never gave up. It was just, keep going Billy, and just get the hell out of here. Run lad, and just escape. And you know, it really actually still makes me really emotional that he did it, and he lived to tell the tale. And do you know what? I don't begrudge him making any money on it, and I don't begrudge him the life that he's led. I really don't, because by Christ, he deserves a happy ending after all that. And I swear to God, I know that there's my parents used to always say about me was there's an easy way, a hard way, and then there's your way, right? I won't say what my name is, but you'll just ever know me as Fairy. But for Billy, it was the easy way, the hard way, and then there was Billy's way. And you know, if anyone in this earth, on this planet, on the universe, deserves to say, I lived my life and I lived it my way, it is you, Billy. You did so well. How to this day you got out, I do not know. It just was, the stars must have goddamn aligned that night, son, because there's no other way to describe the grace of fortune that you got. I think God realised you'd suffered enough and gave you a way to get out, and by Christ you took it. And I'm still amazed that you got through. I'm still amazed that you did it. And take my hat off to you. You know, if you ever think, anyone out there, that you think you're having a hard time, you're having a hard day, oh my goodness me, you're having a really something busting your chops, right? Take a deep breath and be glad that you've never been put in a Turkish prison. Right? Trust me, You are not having a hard time. You are not having the worst of your life. Oh, no. Billy is the crowned champion of this century and the centuries in the future for who's having a hard day. Yeah, it really is. Honestly, I think about all the things and what I've done in my life and things that have happened to me, and I can honestly say my life's been a bloody walk in the park compared to what Billy went through. I mean, I've had some moments in my time where I've come very close to very bad things happening, and when I turned 30 I nearly died, so yeah, there we are. And you know, I had a burst appendix. It was not cool. It was definitely not cool, but at least I didn't have a burst appendix in a Turkish prison. So saying that, I would definitely get yourself a copy of this on Kindle, or I believe Netflix have got it on their selection of movies. Oh yeah, for all your family viewing pleasure. Please don't watch this with the kids. They'll never sleep again. Although you will get them to behave themselves if you just have to mention the word Turkish prison. They'll clean their rooms for you. Sorry, I have to add humour into life. If I didn't, half the things that I've been through would have probably cracked me up and sent me over the edge. So if I have a dark sense of humour, that's an awful lot to do with my past. Anyway, Billy, you are amazing. What you went through was horrific. My darling boy, I take my hat off to you, I really do. Give this one a try, everybody. I won't say the words happy readings, darlings, and enjoy. It's more of the happiness will come at the end of this book, but the fear and the unknown and the trepidation that you will feel as you're going through. I'm speaking as well to, if you've not had children, you won't be reading this from a parent's point of view. But if you're a young person that's ever thought about smuggling drugs, don't. Right? Billy is the poster boy for do not do drugs. Ever. Don't traffic them, don't take them, don't even look at them. Right? You do not want to have a life like Billy had. But you will enjoy this novel, I promise you that. It is, you won't be able to put it down. And it's a solid 10 out of 10 for a true life story. And I don't normally read true life stories, but I had to read this one. I definitely did. So take care of yourselves, my darlings, and I will be back tomorrow night with another book for Mayhem. And until then, my darlings, take care. Good night.